Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for Focus. I'm Anna Marie de la Vega, and today's guest is Daniel Fielding. He's the author of The Asset Mindset, a Special Forces perspective for achieving success. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. It's great to be here. I'm honored to be here on the show with you. I love your energy, and I am super excited to share the asset mindset.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's coffee energy, and I appreciate the recognition there. So let me just let you tell people what your qualifications are to write a book about achieving success.
Well, thank you. Yes, I've got a background. Well, first I'll start off. It all happened with 9/11. That's what moved and changed my life. I was a college graduate, had a real estate license, and 9/11 happened, and I wanted to serve the country.
Oh.
And that's where I was like, I got to make change. And I joined the military, but before joining, I realized if I'm going to go to war, I want to be with the best. So I looked into it, and I found the Green Berets. And I walked in the recruiter's office, and I said, I want to be a Special Forces Green Beret engineer sergeant. And he looked at me and he was like, is that possible? You can just walk off the street? Have you ever been arrested or this or that, or you got to take this test? I was able to make it happen. I was surrounded by amazing people that achieved unbelievable feats. I mean, running 2 miles with 2 broken feet, all in their mindset to achieve their goals. And I started seeing this pattern and theme. And then after getting out of the military, I started working with celebrities and doing security for celebrities and working with people that are very successful. And I noticed a lot of the same traits in their mindset. And I started realizing, wow, these people are their own greatest asset. And
before you go further, let me interrupt you real quickly because I want to go back to the Special Forces. What makes a Green Beret so special? Why is that held in such high esteem to be that and to do that?
Well, a Green Beret is somebody that pretty much won't quit. Green Berets and Navy SEALs or any of those special operations, there's MARSOC also. When you get to that level, it doesn't matter what pain or struggle or obstacles are in your way, you're going to go to that goal or that objective until you reach it. And I started working with multi-millionaires and billionaires and I'm like, oh, there's common themes.
Okay, and it's just that they will not quit.
That's the primary, I think, that's the separator. When you fall down and you fail, you get back up again. Yeah. And you keep moving towards your goal.
It hurts. It's uncomfortable. You get back up and you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about the asset mindset, a Special Forces perspective for achieving success. So we don't have to have been in Special Forces to use that perspective.
Absolutely. It's a philosophy and lifestyle that anybody can obtain if they work at it. It's about believing in yourself. It starts with beliefs, taking ownership of your life, and realizing you are your greatest asset. Nobody can help you in your life more than you can help yourself.
Okay.
Nobody can help you eat healthy food. You have to eat it. You have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You have to read, or if you want to play a guitar or any instrument, you have to put the time in.
Yeah.
So that's the ownership and realizing that you are your greatest asset. That's the first concept.
How do you get your brain there? I think a lot of people, a lot of us blame circumstances.
It's reframing. So you need to change that I can't or I'm not able to how do I?
Oh.
How can I? When you have that how do I mentality, all right, this problem is here instead of I can't because I have this problem.
Or
how do I fix it?
Or I never have been able to.
Yes,
before.
You can learn. And the crazy thing about today, we are all blessed living in this modern time.
Yeah.
Anything you want to learn, I want to learn, your audience wants to learn, you can YouTube it. You can Google. There's ChatGPT AI now. There's really no excuse when I don't know how to, you can figure it out. Now, granted, you might not figure it out as fast as some people, but if you don't stop and you keep learning, you will achieve. And here's a quick little story about myself. I'm a child of the 70s, and we didn't really have computers when I first started growing up and going to school, so I never learned to type. But I'm an author. I wrote a book. I only use a couple fingers on each hand. My wife laughs at me, everybody. But how did I do that? I just kept grinding and kept pushing forward. My goal was I'm going to write a book.
Yeah.
I didn't do it as fast as some people, but I still got it done.
Go over that reframing thing one more time because I feel like that's a very, very, very important start.
Yes. So reframing can help you change your beliefs. That's the great and powerful thing about reframing. So in your mind, you have this thought in your head that you're stuck on. I can't do this. So let's say I don't know how to ride a horse. and I'm scared of horses. Well, I haven't figured out how to ride a horse yet, or I haven't found someone to teach me how to ride a horse.
Right.
So you're changing it, or oh, I'm afraid of a horse. Well, maybe the horse is afraid of me, and I just need to be gentle or kind, or if I am nicer to the horse or have more relaxed energy, that horse will be more kind and relaxed to me, because people and animals pick up on energy.
How can I learn to not be afraid of a horse? How can I learn to do this? How can I figure out how to do this?
And when you reframe, the big thing, any change you or me or the audience wants to make, they need to understand it has to start with a belief. And how do you change your belief? Is reframing your thoughts. You change your thoughts in your head, which will change your beliefs. And when your beliefs change, then your life and your mindset will change. And then you can start actually achieving the goals and the things that you want to achieve.
Did you ever read Think and Grow Rich?
Yes.
I feel like you're on that same philosophy, because
Absolutely.
bottom line, you have to think. A lot of people go through the day, I get up and I just do my coffee and I do my thing and I go to work and I gripe about work and then I go home and I watch TV. They don't stop and think about their circumstances and go, if I really want to eat better and exercise, but I never put any thought process in it. I have someone that I love dearly in my life, and I'll go, well, how can we do this thing that we've been wanting to do? And he would say, well, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. And I thought, we will never do it then.
Exactly.
We have to think about it.
Yes. In the military, we call it droning. I see a lot of civilians call it autopilot. You're living on autopilot.
Oh.
You need to step back and get away from yourself. Give yourself alone time. I think one of the most powerful things that I can share with your listeners right now is go for a walk. It's not just the exercise. When you go for a walk, you have alone time. Your body's moving, juices are flowing, and all of a sudden your mind starts going other places and starts thinking about, ooh, what am I doing? It's almost like taking a shower. People say, my greatest ideas come to me when I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
It's that type of thing. So if you're down and out or you're feeling bummed out, get off the couch or get out of your chair, go for a walk, 15, 20 minutes, and you'll be amazed what happens. How you feel, how you think, all of that will change. And it's simple as a walk.
And don't try and distract or hide yourself in the phone or in videos or in just music that you're singing along to or clips or something. Don't distract yourself. Let your brain go.
Absolutely. When I say go for a walk, it's just you and nothing else.
Yeah.
That's when I'm talking about that type of walk. Just get out there and that alone time. I think for people that are just starting to get the asset mindset philosophy or starting to have that growth mindset, they need that time to themselves so they can have situational awareness and understanding where they're at and where they want to go.
Situational awareness. Where am I in my life?
Yes.
And where do I want to go? Rather than just living your life and then suddenly you die.
Absolutely.
Because
that is it. That's what's going to happen to all of us.
Yeah.
And if you're not living with purpose, if you're not living with passion, are you really living?
If you're just joining us, I'm Anna Marie, and this is Focus, and we're talking with Daniel Fielding, the author of The Asset Mindset, a Special Forces perspective for achieving success. I think some people haven't figured out their why. What is their passion? They have a passion for, I'm going to make sure I'm in front of that TV at a certain time, or I'm going to make sure I do all my crosswords for the day, but they don't have a passion for something else. How can somebody develop a passion? How do they know what their passion is or is supposed to be?
Well, that goes back to the situational awareness. And that's why I think walks, meditation, whatever it is for each individual, it can be unique to them. However, it's that alone time. And what really makes you happy? Think about, here's a great example I like to talk about when I'm coaching people or working with people is, do you ever go on vacation and you wake up excited, or it's easy to get up for that plane ride that's early in the morning? It's not like getting up for work where you have to drag yourself out of bed, or even go back to when you were a kid and it's Christmas morning or it's your birthday and you're getting up. You get up with that energy. That's real passion. So find something like that excites you and you get up out of bed and you're like, ooh, I want to do this, or I get to do this.
Mm-hmm. What if you're right in the middle of your life and you're already doing something you feel like you're stuck in? Can you change?
Absolutely. It's not where you are, it's where you're going.
Whoa. I
it's
like
true.
that.
It is. It's where you're going in life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You could have 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, 20 days. But if you start chasing your passion, your dreams, or focusing on the people you love and your goals, whenever your time is up, you're going to be much more at peace and without regret.
Ah, right. Do you have a lot of goals at one time, or do you set one? Do you prioritize to move forward?
Short-term, long-term goals.
Some of both.
Yes. Daily goals. One of the things I like to every day is have like 2 or 3 goals that I'm absolutely going to do. My wife and I talk like, what are we doing today? You know, what's our goal when we have time off together and things around our farm, or just things with the kids or working on our business and things like that. So goals are very important, but your short-term goals should support your long-term goals. If you want to start stacking your work so that you can achieve greater success.
What do you mean stacking?
So your small goals add up. If you want to, I don't know, let's go into exercise. You want to be able to run 5 miles in, 40 minutes. Well, you stack one day, you run a mile in 10 minutes. Then the next day you run and it's 9 minutes or 9.5 or whatnot. But stacking is when you take those daily goals that build up and add up to reaching your long-term goal of being able to run that 5 miles. Or for me, like writing a book.
Yeah.
I would come back from working with the military, be in my hotel room, and I'd be like, I'm going to write 10, 15 pages that night. Then the next night, I'd come in when I had time, do the same thing. And those pages would stack or add up to then it ended up turning into the asset mindset.
Atomic habits.
Yes.
Little
very
things.
Similar. Yes.
Changing little things, changing your system, the way you do things, rather than I'm just suddenly going to start doing everything all different because it's not supported. Because I don't write 10 pages every day, I'm not suddenly going to jump up and write a book.
Exactly. You got to start small. The world's longest journey is started with one step.
Oh, God bless you. I like that. Okay. And
it sounds simple, but it's difficult to get moving. And I think that's what I'm trying to do now with my book, my podcast, is I'm trying to get people to move and realize that you can start. And starting small is fine. And those small starts is what makes you great. Think of an engine. When I say engine, like a locomotive engine. When that thing first starts, you watch a train take off, it's slow. It's like choo, 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 choo. But once it gets up to speed, that thing's got a lot of momentum and it doesn't stop right away. That's your life and your goals. It's going to be hard to get going in the beginning. It's that slow little grind. But once you start moving, the momentum builds, things get easier and easier and easier.
And you're talking about finding the passion. I've heard it called finding your why.
Yes.
And that was a big revelation to me because it was like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And then anything can derail you unless you have a clear goal. What was your why to writing a book?
My why for writing the book was to, God forbid, something happened to me, that I would be leaving the knowledge and the life lessons I had learned for my children and my grandchildren. That's what it came down to. I wanted to share the knowledge that had been bestowed upon me from my dad, from life, from other Special Forces Green Berets, business owners, famous musicians, all these people that had done great things and achieved success, like elite levels of success.
Yeah.
1%ers, 0.1%ers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's so much knowledge here. So I put it together. And the other thing that was very powerful for me, so in the Army Special Forces, we have a motto, De Oppressor Liber, which is to free the oppressed or free from oppression, depending on how you translate the Latin.
Oh.
And I think people oppress themselves with their own thoughts in their own mind.
Whoa.
So I've taken our Special Forces motto with my book and the asset mindset and moved it over so that people can free themselves from their own oppressive thoughts. And having the right mindset will change so many obstacles and take them right out of your life.
Because if you can then show somebody else the way.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize, but I think a lot of nonprofit people, of course, they have that to free the oppressed. I think with my media coaching, I do media coaching, it's because people have oppressed themselves with not knowing how to do things or never being informed about how to get their information out. And so they don't make as big an impact as they could. And they're doing good things in the world. And my thought process is I want to help you do the best that you can because I can do what you do, but I choose to do what I do.
You know, the other concept, my number 2 concept in the book I talk about is surrounding yourself with good people in positive environments.
Mm-hmm.
Your environment and the people you're around, those are also assets or liabilities, depending on who you're with.
Right.
So that's step 2. Once you realize, hey, I'm my greatest asset, now I need to put myself in areas and locations where there's other good people doing things that support my goals and my dreams.
And you can support their goals and their dreams.
Yes. And then you got into 3. It's like, you know the book already. You have the asset mindset. And you're not Special Forces. How'd that happen?
I am Special Forces.
Because the truth is the truth.
I agree. I totally agree. And especially some of us feel that it comes to us, and it comes to us with a purpose already, that you're going to get it, but more will be required of you. You're going to need to do something with it to get this. I'm going to give you this I feel like people like you have been entrusted with knowledge and insight and discernment that some people don't get.
Oh, yeah. Some people, I think, we talked about it earlier, autopilot, or they're droning, or they're just asleep at the wheel of life.
And they've never had anybody to tell them you don't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Life doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. And that's what's waking a lot of people up. And I think there's a big movement. There's always been some movement in this, but I think now just the times that we've gone through with COVID and other things and people dealing with depression, anxiety, victim mentality, they are now starting to realize, I want more. I don't feel comfortable here in this situation. So that's that natural drive. I think God's in there like telling people like, hey, you're not comfortable for a reason. I have more planned for you, but you have to do it. You got free will. You need to step up and take action.
I think sometimes people will cling to an uncomfortable situation so long that I really truly feel like God boots them out and they're like, no, I'm just kicking and screaming and clinging to it. And then you get out and you find my life is so much better now. Cannot believe I stressed about not being in that situation, that job, whatever. We're talking about the asset mindset, a Special Forces perspective for achieving success. The author is Daniel Fielding, former Special Forces
Green Beret.
Green Beret, and now also a podcast.
Yes, podcast host, The Asset Mindset. So the book's done so well and changed people's lives that I was approached about starting a podcast to help coach and share the asset mindset, lifestyle, and philosophy with others. And we have some amazing stories. There's a woman on there that she was homeless, an abusive relationship, and now she's a business owner. And it was all due to the asset mindset and her changing her thought process and taking ownership. That's it was the very first episode. It was an amazing episode with the Freedom Mama is her name.
Wow.
Alex.
Well, so do you meet them like offline and then work with them, or do you talk to them on your podcast, or how does that work?
It varies. Some people will message me on Facebook or Instagram. They'll reach out through my website. I have theassetmindset.com. There's a way to contact me there. And I do speaking engagements. Sometimes when I speak, people will approach me and, oh, I'd love to learn more from you or talk to you. And I'm like, well, I can do this or that. But the podcast is super exciting, super powerful, because like you and I getting together, sharing similarities and goals and passions, that's what I'm able to do on the show and share with people that, once again, you don't have to be Special Forces to have the asset mindset.
This says the Special Forces perspective for achieving success. What is your definition of success? Is it being rich? Is it having a boat and a couple of cars and a big house? What is success?
That is a great question, and I love it because it's different for everybody. And depending on what you, the listener, or whoever else that's out there, what is successful to you? Do you want to live on a houseboat, a yacht, and cruise the Caribbean? Do you want a mountain cabin up in the Smoky Mountains? There's so many different things. So the asset mindset helps you achieve your own success, your definition of success. I used to work full-time doing security work for celebrities, and I'm now able to be home with my family more, running the podcast, talking about my book, going and doing speaking engagements, where I'd be on the road. There was one time, when did I tour 38 cities in, I think, 5 months. So I was on the road living out of a suitcase, and there was one time, checked into the hotel, put my suitcase in, was busy working, doing the show, doing the security work, and then it was time to get on the plane and leave again. I just went back in my hotel room and grabbed my suitcase and left. So that was one of those things for me some people would think that's successful. I'm getting to see all these different cities and amazing experiences.
Be out with celebrities.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love all the celebrities and the amazing people that are out there in the world, but not as much as my kids. Like I'm going to be home with my kids if I can make that happen. And I've been able to make that happen with this asset mindset philosophy. And it's growing. It's getting more powerful. I'm seeing it change other people's lives. It was first a little ember and smoke, and now it's turned into a flame, and I'm embracing it, and I'm trying to share it. And I think it's the plan that I'm meant to do right now. So I feel very blessed.
See, and that's what you're trying to help people do, is get into the plan that they want to do, the plan that'll get them to where they feel like this is successful for me. A good relationship.
Yes.
Good health. Good career, where they're happy, where they're not stressed every day when they wake up, where they're waking up like it's Christmas.
So their birthday. But absolutely, like that is success. When you can wake up and you can schedule your life the way you want, that's the goal, right? To be free and I want to work on this project, or I want to build this property, or I want to paint this picture. Those are the passions and the goals that I think people in the modern society have forgotten. They get stuck in, I need to go to the job, clock in, work 8 hours, or do my overtime, come home, and then, now I got to relax and sit on the couch and watch TV. That's unwinding. Yeah. But at that point, you're living for someone else, some corporation, some boss, and you're not living for your own dreams. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I've had plenty of jobs and worked for a lot of people and been very lucky with the jobs I've had. But when I came home or I was done, what did I do? I worked on my own goals. Like I spoke about earlier, after working all day with the military, and I'd go back to my hotel room, I'd write my book. So even if it's a half hour, 20 minutes, an hour, whatnot, every day you should be working on something for yourself or your family and your passion. And if you don't have it yet, then that's your work, is to find that passion and find your why. So don't think like, I don't know what to do, because that's what you do then.
So you spend that 20 minutes thinking about that, working on finding what your passion is.
Exactly. Going for that walk.
I'm curious to know where you were and what you were doing when you got that seed, or that seed sprouted that was in you already, to write a book and start sharing this knowledge and this information that you had gained that was helping your life.
This is a great question. I get this a lot. Like, what was the big thing? And for me, the analogy I came up with to answer this question is, I want you to think of an acorn. That turns into a great oak tree. Right now, the asset mindset, this great philosophy, it's a wonderful thing. There was no exact aha moment. There was the seed sprouted in my head. It got a little water from this person and that person, and my dad helped me and share some things. Then I joined the military, and I was with a bunch of amazing Special Forces operators. Then they fertilized my mind and my mindset, and I'm like, it's growing. I'm like, I see what works now. And I've taken that, and it just grew into what it is now. So now it's the mighty oak, or the mighty asset mindset.
You just made me think of something. You said they fertilized your mind, and I think maybe people don't realize that sometimes people can feel they're pooping on you, but it can be fertilizer. It can be fertilizing your mind and your thoughts and making you go, okay, this thing I already have needs to grow, because I need to do something different. I need to go ahead and do that thing that I have, the seed, the thought, that inkling that wouldn't it be nice? I've always wanted to, but never pursued.
Yeah, you don't want to have that. You don't want to have regret. You don't want to be, I'm thinking, this would be nice. Well, if that would be nice, whatever your goal or dream is, or to take that vacation, start taking steps towards it. You have to take action. Thoughts are great. It starts with beliefs. People talk about law of attraction and using your words. That's part of it, but you have to have action too. Anybody who's a doer doesn't just talk. They take action as well.
Right.
So if you're talking about a dream, you're talking about a goal that you have, or you're sharing it with friends and family, and that's all you're doing, you now have to put it into action. That's your next step. So start stepping forward.
I do know somebody who would do that, start talking about, I'm thinking about for doing this and blah, blah, blah. And they would use it as a way to seem more interesting to other people. They probably really did indeed think that would be a good thing to do, but they never took any steps. So it just ended up being a conversation piece that they pulled out when they were trying to seem more interesting or seem like they're really a mover and a shaker, because they weren't. They didn't know how to get started. And so with the asset mindset, this might give you the reframing of, why didn't you do it? How would I do it? Not like, I couldn't, I can't, I never did. How could I make this happen? Reframe your thoughts.
Absolutely. That's one of the concepts I share in the book is reframing, but also understanding victim mentality or a life situation that happens in that moment of time. Okay, that moment of time passes. So if someone burglarized your home and you feel vulnerable and that horrible thing, if you think about that every day, you are keeping yourself in that victim mentality.
Right.
You need to get beyond that and be like, hey, that was a bad thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
That's done, whatever it may be. But only you can keep yourself in the victim mentality. The person that victimized you, that evil person or that thing that happened, they can't keep you there. You allow them, or you allow your mindset to be in that spot. So another concept I use is being a page master. So people read that same page in their head over and over again about negative things, or I was a victim, or, oh, I didn't have a mom and a dad that loved me when I grew up, or whatever.
Which is horrible and can mess you up big time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're valid.
Yeah.
However, do you want to hold on to that, or do you want to grow and move forward? So you got to turn that page in your mind. That page is still there in your life, and that chapter is in your life, but now you're focusing on a new page, and a page that you can create, and you're the writer of your life, and you can make it more positive.
Do you, in rewriting your life, do you start at the end, go, here's how I want it to end, so I'm going to write toward that?
That's a technique. I call that backwards planning. I also discuss that concept in my book.
You're so brilliant.
I don't know if I'm brilliant, but I'm coachable and trainable. That's what I tell my wife, too. You can train me. But no, the backwards planning is a very powerful thing. I share that in my book is how the military, if we had to be at such and such spot, an objective at such and such time to rescue somebody or capture somebody, that's where they're going to be at that time. You have to plan backwards. Okay, how long does it take to fly there? Once we get there, how long do we have to prep the vehicles or do whatever? So it's backwards planning. So if you want to own a business, all right, that's my end state. You start going backwards, and you can plan that way. So it's a technique that is very powerful.
So basically, the asset mindset, a special forces perspective for achieving success, is about achieving what you feel is successful, achieving freedom.
Yes, the individual.
Yes, just you achieving freedom to live your life the way you want, whether it's to be a business owner, whether it's to be in a cabin on a mountain, whether it's to sit in your backyard and watch the birds or something. But that's whatever your success is, it gives you tools to get there.
Absolutely. It's for everybody. I've had someone that was 92 years old told me that her life was changed by my book. And I'm like, you should be teaching me about life. You're 92. She goes, no. I read your book and I realized, because I talk about you are the youngest you are right now for the rest of your life. So enjoy it.
That's right.
And she was like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to she got a job at Walmart, greeter. She was so excited. Now she's 92. Her daughter, I think, was 70. Was like, Mom, you can't go back out and work. And she's like, I can. I have the asset mindset. And she got a job, but she was super happy. And she goes, I feel more alive now, because she hadn't worked in so long. And she was out interacting with people. It's been incredible. And I've had a 15-year-old, when they lost their grandmother, said that my book helped him because I talk about the loss of my dad. And he went back and read that chapter, and it helped him deal with that suffering and that loss.
And you said be a master page turner.
Page master.
Page master.
Yeah.
Okay, to turn those pages, when the bad stuff happens, it does. But then the next page is blank and you get to write it. Yeah,
or focus on the positive thing in your life that's on that page. So it's a way of shifting your thoughts. So right now we could say, oh, it's rainy and gloomy right now, and focus on that and the negative. Or we could turn the page and be like, oh, it's great. All the grass and flowers are getting water. So it's perspective. So that's a technique that I use to share with people so that they can change their thoughts and realize, wow, I can do that.
Yes.
Because people get stuck, like we talked about earlier, being on autopilot or just going to work. And they can't realize that they have the ability to actually change their thoughts. We could talk about sports right now. We could talk about vehicles, cars.
Anything.
Anything. It's a power that I think a lot of people don't realize. And that's why I talk all the time about own your power, or own the power.
Own the power. Well, we're basically out of time. it's just flown by. Is there anything that you feel is really important that our listeners need to know or hear about that I've neglected to ask about?
I'm just going to do a quick recap. Number 1, you are your greatest asset. Own your power. Number 2, surround yourself with positive people and positive environments. And number 3, you be a positive person and an asset to others. If you do those 3 things with the asset mindset philosophy, you will change your life and you will be on your way to reaching your own success and your own dreams and goals.
Daniel Fielding, thank you so much. What a blessing. The asset mindset, a Special Forces perspective for achieving success. We'll put some links up for you and more information as well. Please make sure you join me next week. I'm Anna Marie, and that's Focus.